Well, hello everyone. Welcome again to the PSNI Global Alliance webinar with our global vendor partner, Williams AV. I'm Tom Roberts, the Director of Vendor Programs for the Alliance. Once again, it's my pleasure to introduce Nancy Blanchard, Global Consultant Liaison at Williams AV, on the role of artificial intelligence in assistive communication. As always, we will be recording this program. It'll be provided to you as soon as it's available. All attendees will be in a listen-only mode, and we really encourage you to ask questions. So please use the question box to the right of the screen. We'll get to as many of them as time allows. Those that we can't get to, we'll address on a one-off basis following our session today. Now, with that, let me turn the webinar over to Nancy Blanchard. Nancy, thank you for being with us today.
Thanks a lot, Tommy. I appreciate it. And welcome this morning to our second webinar of 2022. Can you believe that we are over halfway through 2022? And it's like time has just sped by this year. And I know for me personally, I finally was able to get back onto the road to do face-to-face meetings. And then in April, Williams AV, we were at NAB exhibiting in Vegas, followed by ISE in Barcelona, and then of course, Infocom in Vegas in June. So it was just such a wonderful feeling, and I'm sure it's the same for yourself, of connecting, reconnecting, networking, and as a manufacturer to finally be able to show product as well. So I'm going to talk to you today about a really fascinating technology, at least I find it fascinating, and that really is the role of artificial intelligence in assistive communication. So before I do that, let me just talk a little bit about artificial intelligence and machine learning. Are they the same? Are they different? And really with artificial intelligence is that it is a technology that enables a machine to simulate human behavior. Specific applications are natural language processing and speech recognition. Whereas with machine learning is that that's a subset of AI. And it allows for a machine to automatically learn from past data without having to program explicitly. And as we know, language barriers usually occur between two people who speak different languages and can't understand one another. And there is a breakdown in language and communication. But you know, it also can be with physical language disabilities, which could include stuttering, articulation disorder, and hearing loss. Among the many ways that technology has transformed AI or has transformed the world, it now appears that it eliminates language barriers with AI. Artificial intelligence, as we know in the AV industry, pro AV, it's been a slow and winding road when compared to the high-speed world of consumer electronics. AI has exploded just about everywhere, from Siri to Alexa, controlling your home electronics, ordering groceries and other items. One can now control virtually everything in the home. And the real benefit and power of artificial intelligence, or as we refer to it, AI, is helping to improve the end user's experience, specifically the ability to communicate anywhere in the world. And AI should and will have a role to play in shaping the future of simultaneous interpretation, just as AI will do for many other professions. And it seems right now with every industry, everyone is talking about machine learning, artificial intelligence, and other technologies replacing humans in the workplace. However, despite all of the hype, machine learning, artificial intelligence will never be enough to replace human interpreters or translators. What AI will do is that it will augment our ability to translate spoken language simultaneously, accurately, and to help overcome language barriers. Now with artificial intelligence, machine learning, language understanding is a critical component of technology. From simple daily transactions at a bank to meetings with colleagues in multiple countries, that ability to clearly communicate and be understood regardless of your language is imperative. So you may say, oh, okay, I'm going to learn a new language today. I'll choose Italian. Well, once you get into it, it's not as easy as you thought it was going to be, because with language understanding, it's complex because there are rules, there are exceptions to exceptions. Also evolving language, so slang may be different. And then you have contextual, having multiple meanings, such as idioms and cultural references. Simply put, you have two dialects of spoken French, however, they may have different accents and intonations. And that's where, when we talk about neural machine translation, is that it's an approach to machine translation that uses an artificial neural network. And what that does is it predicts the likelihood of a sequence of words, typically modeling entire sentences. So I emphasize the neural component because the inner workings of the technology is what achieves the translation of entire sentences without losing the meaning. The quality of translation has greatly improved over time. And so when I talk about the neural engine, now you'll be aware of me referring to the artificial neural network. And while I was putting this webinar together, I was doing some research and I was blown away. The World Health Organization reports that over 1 billion young adults now are at a risk of permanent, avoidable hearing loss due to unsafe listening practices. Most people believe that hearing loss is experienced by those with congenital conditions, severe illness, or old age, but increasingly an issue among the younger generation, with at least 700 million of those requiring some form of hearing rehabilitation. So when we're talking about the younger generation, I have two young, I guess no longer teenagers, I have to call them young men, young sons. And I can see it because all day, younger generation, they're wearing headphones, earphones, AirPods, and they don't realize that, yes, you're having these Zoom calls for school, but if you're wearing that all day, the type of damage that it can do to your hearing over time. And I even just recently read on Twitter from a doctor who said that hearing loss is increasingly being recognized as an effect of COVID, with tinnitus and partial deafness. At Infocom, I was mentioning about this article, and a consultant that was on our booth had mentioned that he said after having COVID, he started recognizing that his hearing loss, had partial deafness. So he had to borrow his father's hearing aids. So this now is just another thing for us to recognize that can be an effect with partial deafness, tinnitus, hearing loss, is COVID. And with the World Health Organization, they're projecting that by 2050, 25 billion people will have some degree of hearing loss. So with those numbers, the language services industry is seeing growth. And for 2021, the technology and the language services industry was $56.18 billion. And it's projected that by 2023, it'll reach $70 billion. Globalization is real. And organizations around the world continue to transaction across borders and make their services and products available in more languages. So the translation market industry continues to increase in size. So with that said, how much does it cost for captioning services and interpreters? Generally, on average, closed captioning services cost between $150 to $200 US per hour and require expensive hardware. So you've got DSPs, you've got video encoders that are extra. If you're wanting a human translator or interpreter, They range from $250 to $300 US per hour. Within the courts, it's $90 US per hour with remote telephone on call, and that's whether the services are used or not. So with incorporating artificial intelligence, which is what I'm discussing with you today, is COVID spurred the development in new AI technology. The pandemic continues to change the world as we know it. And so with this, having the further development is global companies are working closer together, sharing resources and information. That's what AI is. It is a communication tool, not only to benefit the hard of hearing, but primarily to help people communicate in different languages. We are the innovators, the first manufacturer really in the Pro AV industry to use AI in our products. So the summer of 2020, we launched Caption Assist, which is real-time open captioning displayed as captions on a screen. And then following the next year was Convey Video, launched in the spring of 2021. That does the same as Caption Assist. You have the real-time open captioning, but also translation from one language to another. And that's what Caption Assist and Convey Video provide, is that it simplifies the process. It's an affordable alternative to traditional interpretation translation services when perhaps humans aren't available for interpretation or depending on a company's budget. So you're translating the input language chosen into written text, which is displayed as captions or subtitles. And with that said, I'm going to now give it to Per Persson. He is our VP of International Sales back in Minnesota, and he is going to actually show you Convey Video and how it works.
Okay, thank you very much, Nancy. Can you see my screen now on your side?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So again, my name is Per. I work with international sales here at Williams AV, and I'm doing the demonstration here from headquarters in Minneapolis, and I've been chosen to do this because I will try a couple of different languages. So you can see the interface of the Convey Video. We just have our website as a background. So you can see you can overlay the translation and captions over live video. And what I will do now is I will grab the microphone that's connected to the system and press start. You can see right now my speaker language is English, United States accent more or less, and I will be translating into Japanese. So we'll take a second or two and a message will come up saying start translation. And as soon as that message comes up, you will see that the caption is now live. So it's great to be here with you today. You can follow the text on the top of the screen to see captions in English, and this same content is being translated to Japanese on the bottom of the screen. And what I would like to do is, this is for demonstration purposes. You can certainly choose to have both the captions and translations. I'm guessing there's a limited number of people in the audience that know Japanese. So to give you maybe more of a real idea of what the system does and how it provides a benefit, I will make some changes. So I will stop the translation temporarily, and you'll see in this quick start menu, you have the option to choose between all of our over 100 languages. So you can go from Tamil to Urdu, etc. And the language I'm going to choose is Swedish. If anyone is wondering about my accent, I was born and raised in Sweden, so I can still more or less speak Swedish. And for the translated language, instead of Japanese, again, we have 73 options here, and I will choose English. So if that's the only change I wanted to do, I can exit here and get started. But I also thought I'd take the opportunity to show you a little bit of the advanced menu as well. So there is a secret button click for integrators and anyone using the system to get into the advanced menu. So in the advanced menu, we have a number of options. We can choose the number of lines that are displayed, profanity filter. The one thing I'm going to turn off right now is the speaker text. So you will only see the translated text in English on the bottom of your screen. We have options for font size, for text speed, how fast the text will come up on the screen, as well as background. So on my screen right now, for example, we're showing an opaque text box. I could show that to transparent or translucent, and I could also change the color of my text background, for example. So I think, unless I mess something up, I'm set up for the next demo. So I'll just have to switch my brain to Swedish, and we'll see if you can understand me. So I'm just waiting for the translation to start here. Så nu ska jag prata lite svenska. Jag hoppas att alla kan förstå mig, att ni kan se texten på engelska. Jag är mycket glad att så många personer är här idag och lyssnar på vår presentation. Jag hoppas att ni tycker att demonstrationen är bra och jag hoppas kunna träffa några av er i verkliga livet också. So hopefully that gave you a bit of an idea of how the system is working. So I think with that, thank you for attending again, and I'll turn it over to Nancy again.
Thanks, Per. So I thought that by having Per show you Convey video right now at this time, is that as I'm talking about it, you understand and you've seen the captioning, you've seen the subtitles displayed on the screen, but that you have options in how you show those. Now let me just, there. So the next chapter in assistive listening is assistive understanding and visual, resulting in inclusion for all. And sometimes we hear the argument that captions are just for a few people. It's misguided. There are so many people for so many reasons that can benefit from accessibility. People who might use captions, not only the deaf and hard of hearing, older people, but people with neurodiversity. So neurodiverse individuals that have ADHD, autism, audio processing disorder, dyslexia, dyspraxia, and many more, as well as people in noisy environments. So someone doesn't need to have a visual or permanent disability to be impacted by accessibility practices either. Disability is diverse and it comes in many different forms, whether you're born with it or become disabled later in life. A person can have a temporary impairment due to an injury, such as you've lost your hearing from an ear infection, or situational impairment that's affected by a person's environment or circumstances, such as you have trouble seeing a screen with the different levels of lighting or hearing audio in a crowded room. So you will no longer be hearing us discuss assistive listening only. It's assistive communication. Williams AV is an assistive communication technology company. We provide assistive communication technology solutions that benefit all. So what are some of the benefits from captioning and translation? We set out to address the challenges of interpretation's traditional approach. We listened to what tools would be beneficial and productive in a variety of applications and markets. And so some of those benefits is that translation and real-time open captioning, they've been a dream of the assistive communication technology. They're used as an alternative solution. They're ideal for security, for check-in desks, classrooms, larger venues with video screens to show the captioning as well as the translation. So it could be auditoriums, it could be live outdoor events. But the people that benefit from AI-powered solutions, there's a wide variety. Captions can be used as an alternative solution with broader applications for educational institutions, house of worship, corporate offices, and courtrooms, where hearing clearly is critical, but sound reinforcement might not always be possible. You have visual learners. It can help students, but also the audience better understand and focus on a presentation. It could be a lecture, it could be a sermon. More importantly is that it helps non-native speakers fully understand key concepts, especially with technical subjects. And then it aids students with learning disabilities. So students that have trouble processing speech and also auditory components in media have an IEP. An IEP has accommodations in it. Maybe they need to sit up closer to the front to see the screen, or have a longer set of time for finishing a test or homework, or they have to attend, for example, speech class. But these are the different areas of where AI can benefit people. And then also, more importantly, is that countries are increasingly enforcing laws protecting people with disabilities. And here you see all the different countries with their regulations and their laws that they have enforced. And with the United States, the Americans with the Disabilities Act, the ADA, just celebrated their 32-year anniversary. So just quickly, Caption Assist, how is it different from Convey Video? Caption Assist simply is that you're taking one language in and the same language out. That audio is transcribed into text, and then it is shown as captions on a screen as the person is speaking or as the audio is being heard. Convey Video, on the other hand, it does all of that Caption Assist does with the real-time open captioning, but it has continuous and simultaneous translation from one language into another language, such as how Per showed you with the demonstration. And so then that is displayed as subtitles on a screen. Both of these products allow more people to be able to understand what is being said. More importantly, that there is that feeling of inclusion for all. So both of these AI solutions provide an affordable, accurate, reliable solution. It's available 24/7. If you can't find an interpreter at 6 o'clock who speaks Farsi, you have a permanent solution for last-minute requests that tend to be costly. Also think about budgetary considerations for a company holding meetings or live events. Well, a company has a unit that's ready for automated interpretation. So quickly, what is the difference when we talk about captions and translation? As I had earlier mentioned, is that captioning, it's a text transcript of audio that's displayed on a screen as that audio is being delivered by spoken words or sound. You find captions most commonly seen are during a movie or on TV when watching a TV show, during concerts. And then also with captions is that they're in the same language as the audio, and often they're legally required for accessibility purposes. Whereas with translation is that it's that process of interpreting the text, the audio and more from one language into another. It's referred to as subtitles that are shown on a display, a screen. And they're not legally, typically required, but for people who do not understand a specific language. Now, what markets, what applications would this fit in? Well, more or less, if you're adding or expanding multi-language capability to a space, to a meeting, where having a live interpreter isn't practical or economical. So we've got tertiary education, also known in North America as higher ed, universities, colleges. You've got corporate, houses of worship. So when government, local TV stations, but with higher ed or tertiary is that you're enhancing comprehension. You see that language visual for English learners. There was a survey done that said that when you have not only hearing it, but also seeing it visually, that people tend to retain the information better, as well as test scores did increase for students. With house of worship, it might be that you're listening to the hymn, but you also want to see them visually. And then live broadcast of events, baseball stadiums, football stadiums, stadia, ticket windows. At NAB, I had a gentleman, he was from the University of San Diego, who came to our booth and he was just flabbergasted and said, oh my gosh, we need to have this type of technology in the stadiums. He said, as I'm getting older, I'm having a problem trying to hear what the announcer is saying. If I could see it visually up on the screen, I'd feel more part of the event. And then also translation and recording in judicial. Consider for law enforcement when they're conducting interviews and questioning, especially if you have people that speak another language. And then also for global communications for businesses, is that you no longer have that language barrier when you have multiple offices globally. And then AI can help hospitals or organizations working with public in translating basic sentences at reception check-in. Now, where have we installed Caption Assist and Convey Video? It's being used globally. Here are some examples, such as council meeting rooms, colleges and universities for live events, for webinars, for in-person events, aquatic center. So you've got the captioning as well as the translation on screen for those that are attending a race to follow along. Live events and video production. We have had Caption Assist used for a beauty pageant, government meetings, and then in-person and webinar trainings. You already have your video training or your training videos done, plus your webinars. You can use Caption Assist and Convey Video, run those through, so now you're adding captions and subtitles to what you already have. And then this is just an example specifically of where it is used globally. We've got universities as well as government meetings in Saudi Arabia. The council meetings I was talking about in Ohio, actually, and then mayor council meetings taking place in Florida. With Convey Video, there are 109 translated languages, as well as 153 dialects. And with Caption Assist, it's 73 input languages. And then as the neural engine is learning and more languages become available, then we can provide more languages too. But up on our website, we do have a list of all of the current languages that you can go and visit. Now, the million-dollar question, or should I say the billion-dollar question that I get is, what is the accuracy? It's up to 94% accurate depending upon the language combination and content. The neural engine can produce varying accuracy based on variables such as the microphone pickup, the room acoustics, the speaker mannerisms, speed of speech, the tone and inflection. All of those can impact the accuracy. And then, of course, how well is the audio delivered to the system? The neural machine translation, it's made substantial progress. It becomes better over time with translations that improve. And it will decipher context from phrasing and corrects it. The red balloon versus I read a book. And we also we successfully tested a medical journal containing highly technical industry-specific terms, and it worked well in deciphering. So this is what the server, the Caption Assist Convey video unit looks like. It uses the same product platform, the same neural engine. You have some form of a video input that is HDMI into the unit, whether a camera, a video mixer, etc. In terms of the audio input, is that it may be a USB mic, or you might have HDMI in from an audio mixer or an HDMI input box. But that then audio goes into the cloud, the neural engine transcribes into text, which then is delivered HDMI out to a display. And as what Per had shown you is that you can go in an administrator in the menus and set up the profanity filtering, the speed of the text, as well as the size, and then of course the background colors. This is just a configuration diagram to give you an idea. The back of the unit with 5 USB ports for a mouse, a microphone, a USB thumb drive, a USB keyboard. Then of course you do have to have a wired LAN connection in order to be able to communicate with the cloud. And then your HDMI in, your video source, as well as your HDMI out. And then of course there's the third-party control. So in your venue, your setup, you might not want to have all of the languages shown. So when a lecturer or a speaker comes up to the panel, they might just select Japanese, which has been pre-configured, and then it will do the translation in Japanese. So there is that third-party control. AI design considerations, one that I had touched upon with being that the accuracy improves with the quality of the audio being fed into the system for captioning and translation, as well as a hardwired network connection. And that is with a 2.5 megabit download and then a 25K upload for optimum performance. Now this slide here, I chose to have a little bit later in my webinar because I get this question as well. Well, how are you different from Zoom and Microsoft Teams that has captioning and translation? Well, as a manufacturer, when you are launching new product, it usually is launched at trade shows so that there's a greater audience that can see it. Well, we launched Caption Assist and Convey Video during a pandemic. So how are we to show it? How are we to educate people? By doing numerous Zoom calls, Microsoft Teams calls, demonstrating the product as what Per did today. So that's what I want to step back is that we're innovators. We're the first in the pro AV industry. Yes, we do conference meetings well, we do webinars well, but the products are designed for live events, for higher education, house of worship applications. So there's so much more where Caption Assist and Convey Video can benefit people. Data privacy. All of the data sent to and from the AI systems is encrypted for security, and nothing is stored on the translation server. Archive data is stored locally on a USB drive only, and the neural engine as well does not use any of your content for any purpose except to provide you with the cloud translation API service. Archiving functionality, you can archive any combination of. Audio inputs is saved as an MP3 file. Then you've got video output with the translation and the captioning. That's an MP4 file. And then original language text captions and translated text are saved as text files. There was a request from the courts that asked for a timer on video capture. as well as timestamps per line that's saved as a text file, so that we incorporated into the products. Now, is there a subscription? Is there a license? How does it work? There is a subscription. It's a monthly billing portal. You set your username, your password, and then you enter in securely your credit card information. And the billing is available at a fixed cost in a variety of different currencies as displayed here on the screen. And as I mentioned, is that you're securely entering in the credit card information. So we don't see any of that information. It is handled through a third party, being Stripe Payments. So they handle everything on the back end. And just think about as you purchase a cell phone plan. So you choose the number of minutes. The same thing is that we have tiers, billing tiers. The activation date determines your billing period, and you can choose 32 hours per month, 96 hours, 160, or if you don't want a tier, then you can choose per hour option, which is $24.99 per month. But if I were to choose the 32 hours per month and I ran over until my next billing cycle started, then I would be charged $14.99 per hour until the billing cycle started again. And then also, remember when I was talking about closed captioning services and having a real interpreter or translator? Closed captioning was $150 to $200 US. An interpreter or translator is $250 to $300 US. So I wanted to make this comparison so that you could see having an automated solution, what that would be versus having a real-time translation or interpreter service. Caption Assist, that is a little bit less in price, and that is because you don't have the translation. It's just strictly the open captioning. And what does the future hold for AI? Well, AI assistive communication technologies have proven to offer significant benefits with people with disabilities, especially in terms of human connection, everyday life in the modern world, employment. So opportunities are not limited. And designing new products with these different levels of abilities in mind, it's a concept called inclusive design. And it's gone a long way in ensuring that technology works for everyone. Artificial intelligence, AI, it offers huge potential in helping people with vision, hearing, mobility, cognition, and learning disabilities, whether they're temporary or permanent, to lead a better quality of life. And diversity and inclusion will always be at the forefront of our focus as the world gathers together in various capacities and closely communicates in any geography. So let me introduce you to TechBlue, our support team offering design and support services. If you haven't worked with them, you can email them techblue@williamsav.com. But we have on the left, we have Daryl, Matt, and Bob, all located in Minneapolis at our headquarters. And then for our sales team, we have Tony Braun. He is the VP of Global Sales and Marketing. Per, who you saw, VP of International Sales. And then covering North America is Tim Frankie with Northeastern US, the Mid-Atlantic, Southeast, and Eastern Canada. Mr. Tim Henry, Midwest and Central US and Central Canada. And then Dave Bertrand is Western region US as well as Western Canada. And as for myself, if you have any questions, need any information, email me, nancyb@williamsav.com. Also, if you're looking for who your local support is, your manufacturing reps, please email me. I can refer you to the correct contact. I am active on Twitter with the AV community. You can connect at Nancy Blanchard. And of course, if we aren't connected on LinkedIn, please let's connect. And that is at Nancy Blanchard. Then also, you can, if you want to scan the QR code, you can download our free resource guide. Also, with the presentation that Haley has available, is that there's more information if you're not wanting to scan the code. And then I'm going to open it up to questions. So I'm going to pass it back to Haley. And I just want to say thank you so much for attending this webinar, and I hope that you got something out of it, learned a little bit more about AI in assistive communication.
Thank you, guys. That was such a great demo. I learned a lot. That was actually really awesome. So we do have a few questions for you right now. First one, is it possible to translate multiple languages at the same time? So you guys showed English to Spanish, or English to Japanese rather. Could you do Japanese and Spanish, for example, at once?
So it's one language per box, so you would have to have a couple Convey videos to be able to translate into a different language. So it's not spontaneous.
Got it. Another question here, do you have a server-based solution that can be used as a centralized solution so that they could share it between different meeting rooms within an organization?
Well, it is easy. It's portable that you could, because you just need a LAN connection and then connect up to a display. So you can actually be able to take that to different meeting rooms. So we don't have, as per se, a server and then being able to share.
Perfect. Product availability, always a big question. Is your product available for shipping as of today, or what does the timeline look like?
Yep, it's available as of today. I have it actually in a couple universities. They're trying it right now as an evaluation, and I'm working with some organizations too for them to evaluate it to be used in their institutions. So yes, it is available.
Fantastic. How can end users access some of this equipment from Williams AV?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I actually had, it was the mailman just drove by, so I didn't hear.
How can end users access these solutions from Williams AV?
So just go up to williamsav.com and you'll have all of our products listed there that you can access.
And as far as purchasing equipment, they can of course contact the PSNI CSPs that will be happy to help, you know, in the United States, Canada, and around the world.
Well done, Per. And then a question I, of course, can always answer is there a copy available of the presentation after the event? There always is. Absolutely, we will always share that. So that looks like all of our questions for the moment. So Tommy, I'm going to hand it to you.
Well, thanks, Haley, Per, and Nancy. You know, very well presented. You know, this is such a relevant topic, you know, and we can't thank you enough for sharing all the information. It would be a tool that I would think every one of our clients and every one of our integrating companies should take advantage of, especially today. You know, the environment we're in when, you know, our certified service providers, there's over 100 of them around the world, and I don't know exactly how many languages, but, you know, 50 different countries. You know, this is really an incredible tool for all of us to take advantage of, and I really appreciate the time that you guys have taken today to share all the information with us. Haley mentioned, Per mentioned, you know, the products are available through all of our PSNI members around the world. You can contact them or identify them through the PSNI website, and that's just simply psni.org. You can reach out to Nancy. You can reach out to me. Again, I'm Tom Roberts. My email address is just troberts@psni.org, and we'll point you in the right direction. Nancy, is there anything else you'd like to say before we close?
No, I think that's it. Just I appreciate the time today.
All right, and we do you as well. One more time, the webinar is being recorded, and a link will be made available to anyone attending the webinar. It'll also reside on our learning management system at the PSNI portal for all of our members. With that, on behalf of the PSNI Global Alliance, thank everyone for being with us today, and this concludes our webinar. Everyone, take care and stay safe.